Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tuesday, April 7th, 2020. If you have looked at the updates, if you have looked at the presentation for today, you will know that we have a YouTube live video at the beginning of your hour for the first 10-15 minutes, a YouTube live check-in at the beginning of your hour for the first 10 to 15 minutes. In this video, we will go through our plan for today. You should take a look at your assignments, know what you need to do today. You can look here on your tasks and assignments for today. Otherwise, check out your poetry assignment checklist or the assignments in the upcoming. Make sure you're using your planner. Make sure you're reading for at least 20 minutes a day. Make sure you're studying for the Vocab 10A Happy Fun Time on Thursday. Make sure you're completing your short and sweet EdPuzzle assignments, and make sure that you're working on IXL literary devices and idioms if you want that bonus. Our vocabulary words for Unit 10A are abominable, consequence, dole, formulate, memento, null and void, panorama, pry, resourceful, and finally, subsequent. Make sure you're using your vocabulary book. If you do not have your vocabulary book with you, make sure you're looking at the vocab resource folder and prepare yourself for Thursday. Our Greek and Latin root for this week is extra, which means outside. So extraordinary means outside of the ordinary. It does not mean more than ordinary. It means outside of the ordinary. Extraordinary. Extra means outside. And remember that for our Happy Fun Time on Thursday. The poetry goals and terms that we have for this unit are as follows. After this poetry unit, we want you to be able to define, recognize, and use various literary devices, including alliteration, allusion, onomatopoeia, hyperbole, metaphor, personification, repetition, simile, irony, idiom, and imagery, or sensory language or descriptive language, depending on who's using it and when. We also want you to be able to recognize the point of view, know the difference between stanzas and couplets. We want you to be able to identify and utilize rhyme scheme, be able to identify tone and mood in a poem, recognize a theme in a poem. We also need you to be able to analyze a poem, to be able to look at a short piece of writing and be able to figure out what it means, even if it is not explicit. So you're going to need to be able to identify the subject, the theme, point of view, and compare and contrast what you are reading here with other things that you have read in your life. Make sure you are utilizing that poetry assignment checklist. The checklist has the assignments, their due dates, checkbox for when you've completed them, a place for you to gauge your understanding. The poetry assignment checklists provide you some structure, giving you an idea of what you need to complete by when, but also providing you some flexibility, giving you the opportunity to complete things before if you know you're going to be busier later. We will have 4 major poetry assignments for this unit. The first project is the Thematic Literary Device Project. The second project is a compare and contrast between 2 different poems we will be reading. Third is a thematic poetry project. That is, you are going to be writing a series of poems that all revolve around a similar theme. The fourth 70 percentile assignment will be a poetry super happy fun time, multiple choice and such. That date is yet to be determined, so keep an eye out for it, but it won't be until May. Due dates for those projects are listed, and we will get more into those specifics later. The Thematic Literary Device Project is the first project that you have due. That is due on April 20th. You will create a project showing your understanding and ability to recognize and utilize these various literary devices. You have 14 different terms to choose from. You need to do at least 10. You can do this assignment in multiple ways, so I want you to be creative. You can do this physically, as in a large paper poster. You could create a book using computer paper, or you can do this digitally by creating a series of short videos for each of your terms, or you could create a collage and draw some images using other programs that you have. Each of the terms you use must be defined, have an accompanying image or video, and include an example. The definition should be put into your own words, but the examples can be taken from other sources if you would like. If you do use an example from another source, I ask you to cite that source. Now let's look at the rubric. This project sheet is attached to the assignment on Schoology, and I highly recommend that you download this, put it into Notability, put it into Google Drive, and make sure that you read these directions over and over again before you ask any questions. First, look up the definition of the term and write it down into your notes. That note sheet is attached to the project directions. Second, develop a list of thematic examples for your terms. Think about different themes that you may run with. You could run with sports, basketball or hockey or soccer. You could run with movies, different genres of movies, different actors, different series of movies, such as the Avengers. Remember, you can come up with your own examples, or you can use examples from popular culture. But if you do, make sure you cite your sources. Third, you're either going to draw, locate images for a collage, or create a short 10, 12-second video for each of your terms. Fourth, you need to arrange all that information into something that is neat, clear, and accurate. That can be a book, that can be a poster, that can be a short film, whatever it may be. I want you to be creative, but I want you to follow those basic guidelines. You need to have the definition of the term, you need to have an example of that literary device, and you need to have an image or a video that represents that example. If you have questions, make sure you ask them tomorrow during the YouTube Live at the beginning of your hour. You have several resources available to you to find the definitions of these literary devices, and they are as follows. I will provide you the 6th grade literary device sheet, which should have just about all these definitions. I will provide you the 6th grade poetry terms sheet, which again should have a lot of these definitions. The various EdPuzzle assignments that you will be doing will also contribute a lot to this understanding. You may have heard or seen some of these literary devices before, so you can use your own knowledge to help you create this project. Or you can always use the internet. The internet has a lot of information on it, friends. I don't know if you've been there, if you've checked any of these things out yet, but definitely take advantage of the internet. So be creative, friends, and have a good time with this project. That's all we have for you today, friends. Make sure you visit our LA Live check-in today so that I know that you're participating and I know that you're engaged in this online learning. Have a great rest of your day, friends. So I'm Mr. Westman, reminding you to stay happy, stay healthy, and let's make history. Cheers.